The Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and US President Joe Biden have just finished a joint press conference at the White House, speaking of the deep ties between their respective countries. Following a day of formal talks at the White House, both leaders reaffirmed their commitment to the AUKUS defence pact and protecting innocent lives amid the worsening crisis in the Middle East. Our political correspondent Greg Jennett was there at that press conference at the White House in Washington. Hello, Greg. It has been a very big day for the two leaders. Give us a bit of a sense of it.
Look, as celebrations and welcomes go here at the White House, Lisa, they don't really come any bigger than this. They have a playbook for these visits, and Anthony Albanese, as a head of government, gets essentially the same as a head of state. So it was that on the South Lawn, we had the White House festooned in red, white and blue. We had an invited crowd, which the White House says numbered almost 4,000 people, lined up on the lawns, brandishing Australian and American flags. Then the Prime Minister, with his partner, Jodie Hayden, arrived to be greeted by Joe and Jill Biden. There was a gun salute, a ceremonial inspection of the Guard, armed services bands played, and then speeches were given, speeches that tried to encapsulate the broad sweep of history in the AUKUS alliance, so particularly in battle, stretching back to World War I, right through to points of conflict and international tension today. Of course, both leaders also referencing the crisis in the Middle East at present. But a warm welcome, and then they got down to work inside the White House, with many meetings held with cabinet secretaries and in the Oval Office with the President himself.
Yeah, it's those talks that are so critical, isn't it? What did we learn that might have been discussed and negotiated?
A real suite of joint initiatives detailed over many pages. I think I counted out towards 8 pages if you could print this stuff, Lisa. Now that spans space cooperation, science cooperation, and, as you would expect, critical minerals and clean energy as well. Anthony Albanese's had a bit to say about that during his visit. Some of them are incremental. There's also a rather substantial project to be laid on the seafloor around the Southwest Pacific. This is a new fibre optic network offering branch lines to most of Australia's Pacific island neighbours. Google will be involved with that, as will US and Australian governments. Combined, they'll tip in $65 million for that project. But make no mistake, Anthony Albanese's primary motivation on this visit was to try to put some shape, purpose and direction into the AUKUS nuclear-powered submarine agreement, and he addressed that in the Oval Office, really stressing, I suppose, the defence and security side of this multifaceted alliance relationship.
We have had defence and we've had the economic relationship, defence through AUKUS, the economic relationship through our free trade agreement, but we've added a third part of this alliance, front and centre as well, through our clean energy, critical minerals and climate change compact, taking action to protect the world, to lower emissions, to take advantage of the shift to clean energy, the opportunity that presents to grow.
The big ticket item though, Greg, is the AUKUS nuclear subs deal. Gosh, lots of questions about the speed or lack thereof of that. Do you think that it's back on track?
There's every indication that it probably will be, at least insofar as President Biden is concerned here, Lisa. I'm sure everyone remembers that AUKUS was a creation of this president, along with Scott Morrison and Boris Johnson at the time, back in 2021. What's happened since is some of the necessary legislation that would enable the sale of Virginia-class submarines to Australia and the sharing of other very sensitive military secrets is is bogged down in congressional or Capitol Hill gridlock, not necessarily party political, but people with reservations about the building capacity in US shipyards that make these nuclear submarines. Now, Joe Biden has made it abundantly clear today that he will put all his heft behind trying to break that deadlock, and moreover, he's expressed full confidence that that will happen.
The fact is that I'm confident that we can get this done, because you remember when we put the deal together, the response of Democrats and Republicans in the United States, the response around the free world was, this is a very, very good thing, a very good thing. So the question is not if, but when. And so I'm confident that we are going to be able to get the money for AUKUS, because it's overwhelmingly in our interest.
All right, so the working day is now done. Anthony Albanese, Jody Hayden and other members of the official delegation have left the grounds of the White House, but they'll be coming back before too long for this gala dinner celebration, an extremely elaborate affair. I know there's been discussion about comfort food. It was described as a celebration of spring and autumnal bounty by the chefs and other decor specialists who designed it, Lisa. Now, names on the list are still being held back when it comes to celebrities and stars, but I will offer you one hint, one bit of scuttlebutt, if you like, Lisa. There was a reference by the Prime Minister to Barbie in his opening speech here at the White House this morning. So just wondering to whom he might be referring. Hot tip, Margot Robbie, of course.